with me. All my girls with me.
Out towards Chloe Rolly, wonderful step from the Scotland international, gliding away, running away, sprinting away, stunning score!
Lewis on the wraparound. This might work out for Thompson. They're going to put a little bit more on it, and then they're over.
Large on the ball, lovely flighted pass, Tatiana Hurd with a straight line, streaking towards the try line in the opening minute. She spills away, dives over the line, wonderful fly from Tatiana Hurd.
Megan Gunnar puts the afterburners on. Shannon Harris, 2-on-1 is Lydia Thompson. Oh no, you're not going to catch Lydia Thompson from there. Scott, oh, it's intercepted by Emily Scarrett. They won't catch Emily Scarrett from there. The long legs just eating up the ground. Oh, Chloe Rowley's making her way back, but she won't catch her. Emily Scarrett has been on fire.
Carson again, she's having an absolute stormer of a second half. The Canadian international still going, gets the offload out. Lottie Clark bursts away from the tackles, gives it off. Carson again, looks around the outside, Packer for the hat-trick. What a score from Saracens. What a comeback.
Girls ride with me. All my girls with me. Ride with me.
Turnover by Malloy. And McDonald sets off. Claudia McDonald. Mack is back and in fine style. Oh, it's a fine strike. Marston controlling brilliantly. That Bristol pack going forward. It's a penalty try. Oh, now there's a gap. Burgess.
Ride with me. All my girls with me.
Well, good afternoon and the warmest of welcomes to you all for the penultimate round of the Allianz Premier 15s from Surrey Sports Ground for the clash between Harlequins and Worcester Warriors. I mean, heaven and earth has been moved to make this season possible, and it has been a thriller all the way, and it is coming to a climax with playoff home berths at stake for Harlequins and a bit of pride for a season of development for Worcester Warriors. I'm Joe Burns and I'm joined by injured Harlequins winger Heather Cowell to guide you through today's action. Heather, welcome.
Thank you very much. Great to be here.
And quite a prospect we've got ahead of us today. You're very, very well placed to be joining us because you scored a try in the victory at Six Ways for Harlequins earlier in the season. You spent a season at Worcester, so you know everything about these two.
Yeah, absolutely. I spent my season at Worcester and I've loved playing for Harlequins. And it should be a really good battle between the two sides today. I'm really excited to get going.
Well, Quins prevailed last time over Worcester. What was the difference? Why did Harlequins defeat Worcester at their place?
Yeah, I remember it being a really, really good battle between the two sides. I think Quins just had a little bit more experience on the day. But obviously we're seeing a very, very different Quins side today. And yeah, so it should be equally a really good battle.
Well, it has been quite a long time since we brought Premier 15s to your screen. So in an attempt to refresh your memory, we've got some highlights of last time Harlequins were in action in the epic 17-all draw against Saracens.
The league was made to wait until round 16 for the latest instalment of the great Saracens-Harlequins rivalry, and they had to be patient for its first score too. After a tense and turnover-laden 20 minutes, it was Poppy Cleal who struck, thundering off the back of a 5-metre scrum to notch her 15th of the campaign. Despite the swirling conditions, Zoe Harrison added the extras before it was opposite number Ellie Green tasked with kicking duties after Saracens were caught offside. 43 minutes of low-scoring but highly entertaining rugby had taken place before either side reached double figures. Harlequins flexed their muscles at scrum time, and Fee Fletcher was the one to dot down off the back of a quartered avalanche. The women in black, undefeated at home for 24 matches, would not go down without a fight. And for the 17th time this season, May Campbell delivered, finishing off a series of pick and goes. 10 minutes later, the ever-effervescent Leanne Riley spied a gap in the hosts' defensive line and burst down the blindside to put Quins back in front. Green continued her flawless afternoon from the tee, and the score stood at 14-17. The final play of this enthralling tussle saw Saracens awarded a penalty right on the 22, and a nerveless Harrison struck it perfectly to level the scores. 17 apiece in this table-topping London derby. Shared spoils and the league's hottest head-to-head finally poised ahead of the season's knockout fixtures.
Well, heartbreak there at the Stonex Stadium in two senses, because Heather, that's the game that you injured yourself in, but also a last-minute kick from Saracens to snatch the draw. How did you feel in the aftermath of that game as a squad?
Yeah, I think it was, obviously, of course, it was disappointing to get the draw really last minute. But I think the girls had a really good game, and yeah, I think a draw against Saracens, top of the table, is not something to, look past, and we will build nicely from there into the final end of the season, and hopefully can get the win when it matters.
So drawing confidence from that draw nevertheless, but a very different team we saw on show for Harlequins that day. There is a whole raft of new faces who've come into the match day 23 due to the Six Nations being on currently. Can you tell us about some of the players we're going to see today?
Yeah, absolutely. As you say, we've got a very, very different squad. We're missing some really, really key players, but equally that's a really exciting time for the younger players to step up and get an opportunity to run out in a Quins shirt. So, we've got likes of Freya Orkin starting on the wing. It's her first Quins start, and a really exciting opportunity to see her run her nippy feet on the edge of the pitch. And then the likes of Rosie Dobson coming back from injury, also her first start for Quins as well. So lots of young players to be excited about, and it'd be great.
But a team that aren't going to make it easy for them are Worcester, because while they do have a number of youthful players in there themselves, they have got players who are really hitting form. I'm looking at the centres, players like Jade Shekels, and then their back row, Alex Callender, Sinead Harries, probably unlucky to not be involved in the Six Nations themselves.
Yeah, Worcester have, come so far amongst the season. They've got a lot of young players, and it not massively disrupted due to the Six Nations, and still some very, very well-capped players in there. And, the likes of Jade Shekels, Vicky Laughlin, they've been, really dominant this season, and I'm sure they'll cause Quinn some trouble.
Well, let's take a look at some of the other fixtures that are happening today, because it's not just us here in Guildford for Harlequins v Worcester. It is a full ticket of Premier 15s. That right there is what you call a Super Saturday. With no Six Nations, this is where you get your women's rugby fix today. And the fixtures jumping out that are going to impact the top of the table: Loughborough hosting Saracens, and Gloucester Hartpury hosting Wasps. Wasps missing a number of their 7 stars who've made such a big impact this season as they train with GB7s. Plenty of spice on that schedule. Let's take a quick look at the table as well before we get into the game. We mentioned there is a home semi-final at stake for Harlequins, and the pack is chasing hard. The likes of Wasps, the likes of Loughborough, and new kids on the block. The noisy neighbours, Exeter Chiefs as well, looking to break into that top 4 in their first season. What an effort that would be if they could break into the playoffs. Well, it's been great to have a brief chat about the game ahead of us with Heather, but I also caught up with the 2 head honchos of Worcester and Harlequins before the game, and they are Jared Mullen and Joe Yapp. Jared, a nice long break since the bruising 17-all draw against your arch rivals Saracens. How have Harlequins spent the last 3 weeks?
Yeah, I think look, it was a great game, and I suppose unfortunately for us, Saracens just got that penalty end to draw the game. But no, we've used the time to probably do a reflection where we're at and kind of maybe just reset some goals between now and the end of the season. Look, however, I think a lot of players that played in that game aren't playing today due to international windows. So we've mainly been focused on kind of preparing this group today.
You mentioned about assessing where you're at and maybe looking at your goals, where are you and what are those goals now?
Yeah, look, I think our main goal, 2 league games, is just trying to get we're in the top 4 already, but trying to get a home semi-final to give us the best chance of winning the league, really. So that goal of winning the championship is still there, and it's about just building our processes to make us have the best possible chance of doing that.
And that home semi can come with a win today against Worcester. It was a real hard battle that you had with them at Six Ways earlier in the season. What is it that Worcester offer, and what have you got to get right against them to win today?
I think credit to Worcester. I think they're one of the best coach teams in the league. You know, I have a lot of respect for them when I do preview footage. Well drilled pack, like to move the ball. So we're expecting a very tough test today. We will need to be on it defensively to have a chance.
You've alluded to the number of changes in your team makeup today. Can you just tell us a bit more about the squad that you've selected for this match?
Look, I think the nature of this season, we've had, especially post the new year, we've had a lot of time with players away, and for me, I think a lot of players have stepped up, and it is challenging, but it's also helping us grow depth in the squad and grow competition. And I think players like Katie Mew, Lauren Brooks, Izzy Mayhew, to name a few, have really kind of come into their own, and I'm excited to see a few more hopefully stick their hand up today. And it's great to see Berth back in the centre. She's been missed, and I've no doubt she'll have a big impact today.
Excellent stuff. All the best out there.
Cheers,
Jared.
Bernsey. Top man.
Right. Jay, thank you so much for joining us today. Quinn's a very tough prospect, but you are in some decent form with your wins against Bristol and Sale in your back pocket. How do the squad feel coming into this one?
Yeah, the squad are really excited. We know it's a big task. You know, they're second in the league, aren't they? And they're there for a reason. They're a team that perform consistently well. So we know it's a big challenge, but it's one that we're really excited for. Like you say, we're off the back of some good recent results, which has helped the squad grow in confidence.
With you being out of playoff contention, what are you playing for the remaining 2 games of the season?
Ultimately, we just each week we're just looking for that performance to improve and increase, and to see what the girls are capable of. Like, it's a bigger picture for us. It's a young squad, and already we're kind of looking ahead to next season and trying to give opportunities to players and see what they're capable of. You
mentioned your young squad. A youngster who is a real rising prospect and has been out with injury is returned today, Akina Gondway. How excited are you and everyone to see her back in a Worcester jersey?
Like, everyone is so pleased for her. It's tough. It's her first game back this season. She's great within the squad. She's worked so hard, as of all the staff, to get her back to this point. So to have her back before the end of the season, to get her some game time, is brilliant, and we're really excited to see her come off the bench.
And what about your opponents today? Because you pushed them really hard at Six Ways. In fact, you're going hammer and tong right at the end, and they were fending you off to the very last. How do you feel about this team that you're coming up against today?
Well, they're like really experienced, aren't they? And I appreciate they've got some of their kind of EPS players out, but you know, they've still got people like Emily Scott and Lucy Packer who are really exciting 9 and 10. So we know that they're a really physical side, and they come at us physically, and they like to carry hard. So yeah, we're excited to take them on.
Excellent. Look forward to seeing you out there.
Cool. Thank you.
Nice to hear from both coaches of our 2 respective sides today. But let's meet the players who are going to be taking the field today, starting with the most famous quartered jersey in the club game, Harlequins. There's your starting 15. Rachel Burford returns from a calf injury to lead the team from 12. She'll be linking up with Emily Scott, creating a pretty potent attacking axis to unleash the backs, and include wearing 11 Freya Orkin, a scrum half by trade, but making her first Harlequin start on the wing today. Whilst in the pack, number 8 Tova Vixton, usually seen at prop, leads out the team today on the occasion of her 50th Quins appearance. For Worcester, Abby Kershaw starts at fullback. She brought a real spark from the bench last time these 2 met at Six Ways. And she'll be looking to link up with Jade Shekels, who we mentioned in dispatches just before the game, in rude health form-wise and inspired to pursue a path in professional rugby by the exploits of one Rachel Burford, who shall be charged with keeping a lid on today. In the pack, the front three, Carol Thomas, Caris Phillips and Flo Long, make a formidable triumvirate in the front row. So Quins in their famous quarters, Worcester in a beautiful light blue. But first, on the day of his funeral, we pay our respects to His Royal Highness Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, with a 2-minute silence in his remembrance. Well, a lovely black and white photo of the Duke there at Twickenham. A supporter of rugby, a supporter of life, a man who lived it to the full, remembered today. And the reason that the kickoffs have all been moved to 1 o'clock today in the Premier 15s, and it's a double header for Quins and Worcester because, Heather, the men play each other at 5 o'clock today at the Stoop as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Big battle between the two clubs this weekend. Yeah, it's good to see.
Well, who will be drawing first blood, though, in the women's match? Quins just finishing their pre-match rituals, smashing pads and in a huddle, led by that lady, Rachel Burford. It'll be Quins to kick off, left to right. And Heather, the return of Rachel Burford is important.
Absolutely. She's so key in this team. She leads from the front and it's just so wonderful to see her back on the pitch.
Referee Ben Woods to purse his lips for this one. Make sure that all is present and correct. And Emily Scott gets us underway, sending it long into green pastures of Worcester. A scrappy reception, but they've mopped up the mess nicely before carrying to steal a few extra yards. A clean exit, the order of the day for Worcester. Partially charged down before Jade Mullen gets her hands on the ball for Harlequins to launch their first attack of the afternoon. Scott steps inside, but finds herself isolated. A fantastic turnover from Charlotte Wright-Haley. The battle of the breakdown won by Worcester in the first play.
Yeah, it's good pressure from Worcester, clean exit, and this is where they'd want to take the game and get into their own half.
Well, Scott sort of showed an element of indecision, some hesitation, and after being chopped pretty swiftly, Wright-Haley was bang on it. Her first start in a Worcester jersey. And quite a way to announce herself. A little dynamo is how Joe Yap described her to me before the game. Gets through a lot of work, good over the ball. And that's a good line-out drill from Worcester to launch their first strike through their backs into Shekels, who links up with her centre partner. Hard yards through the middle. but a forward pass at the crucial moment. Good penetration from Worcester early though.
Yeah, Worcester looking strong, looking in the game, ready to go, and putting a lot of pressure on Quins.
So for those new to Premier 15s or haven't watched for a while, of course, scrums being limited in the COVID era, so the forward pass sees the game restarted with a free kick and into the distributor. Burford's hands, gives it to Beth Wilcock, who's muscled into touch, and well, we're back to where we started with a Worcester line out just beyond the 10-metre line.
Yeah, absolutely. Quins haven't gone really anywhere with that attack. Unfortunately, Beth's just being dragged into touch there. But yeah, Worcester are looking up for it and ready to go. So,
well, the line out going well once again for Worcester. Into the hands of Nicholas to open up the Harlequins midfield. She's the one pulling the strings for Worcester this afternoon, trying to bring those talented centres of her into the game as we see Wright Haley show her attacking prowess this time. She's already impacted at the breakdown. Worcester, good continuity. The meters are hard to come by though. Fast line speed from Harlequins sends Worcester back a few more meters. They're in reverse despite all the possession at the moment. More big tackles in the midfield. That time, Wilcock before a big hit from Fee Fletcher puts the pressure on Worcester and out for a line out.
yeah, much better from Quins, really getting up off the line and shutting down that Worcester space and just making it really, really difficult for them to play. So much better from Quins.
Well, front row seats for us here, Heather, for this line out and into the hands of Rosie Dobson on her first Quinn start. She had some impact when she was an early replacement off the bench at the Stoop for her debut. But she gets her start today.
Yeah, it's great to see Rosie back from her injured period out of the game, and hopefully it'll be a good one for her.
Yeah, she said in her post-match interview that she was almost starstruck to be playing with Rachel Burford because she'd had such a big impact in her development as a player.
Yeah, Rosie's still so young, and I think she's sort of been to the Burford academies and the likes of that sort of thing. So I think definitely a star in her childhood growing up was Rachel Burford.
Well, we were a little bit rushed in our appraisal of the important role that she might play today, especially with the youthful selection for Harlequins. What does she offer as a leader in there?
Yeah, I think, Burf just provides that structure of the game, and as a player that everybody can lean on, whether in the backs or the forwards. She just leads from the front. She'll carry and tackle for the team, as she has done just then. Big carry from Rachel Burford there.
Well, right on cue, Rachel Burford steps up to reward your commentary, Heather, but it's been picked off in the midfield by Worcester. Paige Farry streaks away, and it's Worcester with the opening score at the Surrey Sports Park.
Yeah, that's a great try from Paige there. Canadian international, sort of showing what she can do. It's a good start from Worcester. They put the pressure on right from the off. And Worcester getting the early points.
Well, the initial momentum was clutched by that bullocking run from Burford, and Quins looked to go wide immediately, but lurking in the midst of all those quartered jerseys, Paige Farry's, the 10-cap Canadian flyer, just gobbled it up, and not a shred of Harlequins DNA on her as she went to the line. So Worcester with first blood and a chance to maximise it to 7 points with the boots of Sarah Nicholas.
Yeah, I think it's early phases in the game as well, so Quinn still have time here. They'll put their heads together behind the post and come back fighting.
Well, glorious as it may be, it is blown a hoolie through the ground today. And Nicholas doing very well to get that conversion through. Almost got held up on the way over the crossbar, but it did make it. And Worcester lead Harlequins 7-0 with just over 5 minutes gone. A disastrous
back on the line, all the way on the line.
Kick-off receipt from Worcester though. Knocked on. Quins with a chance to respond immediately. The carry through Katie Mew. Quins meters short. They set up a big block to fly like a wedge through the blue defence. They're keeping it tight, using their power. Cries of celebration, but held up, says Ben Woods.
Yeah, Quins putting the pressure on straight away. An unfortunate knock on there from Abby Kershaw, and Quins are just looking to capitalise on that.
So difficult for Worcester. They get the try, then the knock on, and they're immediately under the pump. And Quins looking to do what they do best. Katie Mew goes on another rampaging run. Prominent carrying in these opening exchanges. Good strong defence from Worcester. Quins continue to be repelled.
Yeah, it's good D from Worcester here so far. They're keeping Quins off their line.
Patient from Quins at the moment. Brooks clattered in the tackle and stripped on her way to the floor, but the tackle was already made. Very marginal, that one, very marginal. Worcester can count themselves unlucky.
Yeah, there's a few penalties there for Worcester. They'll just have to be careful about their discipline in their red zone.
An early word from the referee, not what Worcester would like, as a swarm of Harlequin bodies blast their way towards the line. They are so close. They are there. That's Quins' response under the sticks. And Worcester's lead is about to evaporate, and we're due to be 7-all with the kick to come.
Yeah, no, that's good patience there from Quins with the forwards continuing to drive. I think that was Alex Eddy just under the post there. So she'll be really pleased to get on the scoreboard today. A quick battle we have ourselves here, I see.
Very good from Quins. Just the response they would have wanted after that Farry's interception. As he said, Captain Alex Eddy.
Yes indeed. Alex plays for the Army as well, and she's a very experienced player, so she's another one that offers that experience on the team. Very level-headed.
Well, Emily Scott not quite catching that one, and it means that Worcester keep their lead. Harlequins 5, Worcester 7. Just approaching the 10-minute mark of a very high-octane game to start things off, I've got to be honest, Heather.
Yeah, lots of early points. I think it's going to be a good battle between the two sides today.
Well, Worcester will want to exert exactly the same kick-off pressure that Quins did on them, but someone who's safe as houses is Rachel Burford, who Worcester find before Burford pumps the ball into the Worcester half, and the blue-jerseyed women of Worcester will fight to get out of their own half through some big forward carries. That time Caris Phillips returning from Wales for this game, captaining today. She's been busy in the Six Nations. She's here to do a job for Worcester in the AP 15. Big pressure in the centres from Harlequins. Advantage being played.
Yeah.
Knocked on under the attentions of Rachel Burford, and well, she's doing everything that you just told us.
Absolutely, her work rate is phenomenal and continues to do so in her first game back, and that press is just putting too much on Worcester, and they're causing the knock on there.
Well, Rosie Dobson looks keen to take this one. She's flanked by two of her big forward partners, but the defence is stern from Worcester. Scott finds a soft shoulder with Wright Haley. Good meters from the bustling back rower. Scott again dictating traffic. Burford, footwork, keeps going, still going. Worcester struggling to contain the Harlequins attack at the moment. This time Vixton taking it forward. Quins searching for that gap.
No, you pulled her down.
They go through the middle this time, tumbling, rolling. Numbers to the left if they can go, but another intercept picked off by Worcester. It's good hands, good support. And Quins scramble to get their defence realigned. They've done well. Worcester still under pressure territorially, just beyond their 22 now. It was Abby Kershaw who picked that pass off. And I thought Farries might get it and go all the way again, Heather.
Yeah, it looked like it could have been another intercept try there. Just lucky to get that clutching tackle right at the end to ensure that they stayed where they wanted to be.
Emily Scott counters from deep before Quins revert to tight. Burford, the dink over the top, pursued by Mayhew. It's messy for Worcester.
Knock on. No quick.
They lose it forward, and another free kick for Quins.
All the way.
A lot of handling errors from Worcester at the moment, really putting themselves under some pressure in their red zone.
Yeah, I think some things both from Quins and Worcester there, not being able to capitalise where they probably wanted to, and just getting a little bit messy with a few knock-ons.
Tackle!
But Quins still remaining competitive in that 22. Forwards are working really, really hard.
Scott to Burford.
Rempton the
met
tackle.
by Shekels.
Rempton gone backwards, play on.
Quins continue to probe, a missed tackle, drive of the legs into the hands of Freya Orkin on her first start in a Quins jersey over in the left-hand corner.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant for Freya to get a try on her first start for Quins. What an exciting time for Freya. Brilliant.
Well, terrific support from the young scrum half, but it all came from Vixton's power through the tackle.
Yeah, absolutely. Phenomenal power from Tove there, just along the edge, remaining inside the pitch and able to get the offload onto Freya to get the points for Quins, which is brilliant.
Well, Freya Orkin showing all the skills.
Yeah, originally a 9, Freya, so just playing out probably a little bit out of her comfort zone on the wing, but clearly doing extremely well with her rapid feet that she's got.
Well, much better strike
that
that time, but still unsuccessful. But Quins are now into the lead, 10 points to 7. Yes, Freya Orkin, we mentioned a scrum half, but you know, like all good scrum halves, that good trailing support line sees a big person doing the hard work and
absolutely,
very much on the spot, on the shoulder to add the finishing touches.
Absolutely, it's a great trait of a 9 to be on the shoulder of those players making those breaks, and Freya's done really well there.
Well, this time Harlequins with the error from the kickoff. I hint that it may have been lost in the sun. It really is bright down here today. In fact, we're struggling to see our monitor because it is so bright down here. But Emily Scott with the error, putting her Quins under pressure. And Worcester will want to be a little bit more patient, try and maintain possession. They do this through Thomas.
Backwards,
before backwards. A loose pass in the midfield. Shekels, hands are fast, she reacts well. Laughlin looping round onto the right wing on this occasion, but Worcester again, another handling error, gives Quins the opportunity to break out of their half.
Yeah, Worcester just not managing to keep hold of the ball again, and unfortunately just losing it there to Quins.
Quins, box clear into the backfield, well taken. And Laughlin, oh, Laughlin still going, Laughlin elusive. Quins eventually find an answer to her. Just beyond the 10, and such was the pace and the elusiveness. She was isolated, and Quins have won a turnover penalty, and Scott's off. Furious tempo to this game at the moment, Heather.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Scott's gone there quickly to try and keep the tempo up. She's got over that ball really, really quickly, enabled the turnover, and Quins are now looking to keep the tempo going.
Well, the initial burst was good, taking play up to the halfway line, but Harlequins eventually found themselves battered back to their 10-metre line before Orkin has managed into touch. A nice show and go from Orkin, but running out of room on the touchline in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. She very, very nearly got through there, but just getting pulled into touch, unfortunately.
Well, we're pretty much bang on halfway through the first half, and I'd love your view, Heather, on what feels like a really crazy first 17 and a half minutes of just relentless attacking, quite a few handling errors from both sides, maybe a bit inaccurate at times.
Yeah, I think both teams are putting a lot of pressure on each other. We've seen some really nice play from Worcester, great line break there from Vicky Laughlin. But unfortunately, just the support of the Worcester players not quite able to get there to keep the ball safe. And yeah, Quins have looked really, really good in defence. Their line speed is extremely high, which is enabling them to shut down the Worcester defence. But ultimately, I think both teams just falling short slightly on the handling side of things today, and I think both teams will look to improve that throughout the game. You
mentioned the line speed. That defensive pressure that Harlequins are looking to exert is certainly causing issues for Worcester. Is that something that you spoke about a lot during the week?
Yeah, I think as a team we always want to bring line speed, and we know that if we shut down that space in front of us, then it makes it extremely difficult for the opposing team, and the girls are doing well with that in the early stages of the game. It just, you know, the hard bit is to continue it throughout the entire 70 minutes of the game. But yeah, they're doing a good job so far, and just need to keep that work rate up.
So, water break concluded. And Worcester to restart us with a line.
Option, not straight.
The downside of a line out on the halfway line is there is an excellent line to tell you, the referee, whether it's gone straight or not, and that's certainly going off target that time.
Yeah, no, that's unfortunate there for Worcester. And Quins will be looking to capitalise off this near midfield scrum, and they'll want to have a run around now.
So we'll see our first scrum of the game. Has the absence of scrums changed the way in which you're approaching these games these days?
Yeah, I think so. It sort of brings much more tempo to the game. There's less disruption, and the scrum just, it's not as dominant as it is when you're playing the normal rules, really. So it just creates more tempo for running around with the ball.
Orkin, increasingly prominent at the moment, pops up in the second wave of Harlequins attack found by Burford. Before Wilcock, the distinctively dreaded Wilcock, takes play to the halfway line, and Quins now seeking to strike left. Loose pass from Burford though. Another bobble, a ricochet off a Worcester player, and knocked forward into touch.
It's not forward into touch.
Yeah, I think Quins will be disappointed with that. It was a nice carry over here from Beth Wilcock, giving good leg drive, and then unfortunately just another loose pass to not quite get the end that they'd wanted.
So it means instead of the line out, it'll be a free kick to start us back off. You mentioned about having the higher tempo, but I guess with free kicks there's more players in the defensive line there as well from the free kick, because there aren't 16 girls absorbed in a pushing match. Yeah,
absolutely. There's more players available on the pitch. That's another unfortunate handling error there from Worcester.
Paige Farry's the latest culprits of the butterfingers that seem to be going around the Worcester team in this first half.
I think the sun making it very, very difficult today. It's obviously a beautiful day out here, but makes it really, really difficult with that ball coming from the air.
Well, it's a combination of this glaring sun, but then also the wind that sweeps through this ground as well. It looks picture perfect conditions, but very, very challenging high balls to take.
Knock on.
Another knock on there, maybe slightly lucky.
Knock on.
Didn't seem a huge attempt to catch that one as Scott looked to try and get outside that on-rushing Worcester defence.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit generous from the ref there, but Karen Scott will count herself lucky for that one and continue on with the game.
Well, Tova Vixton is not shy of work this afternoon. She's celebrating her 50th appearance with a big performance in this first half.
She's not on the ball.
A prop by trade, but doing a pretty good imposter job in the number 8 jersey today for Harlequins. But Worcester are on that fantastic turnover and just the win they needed on the floor. They've had to put up with wave and wave of Harlequins attack, but excellent work on the floor. Sees them win a penalty and relieve the pressure.
Yeah, that's an excellent turnover there. Worcester back row, you know, very, very experienced and doing really, really well there to get the turnover when it's really important as well.
Yes, we mentioned before about a couple of Welsh girls who can maybe count themselves unlucky to not be involved in the Six Nations setup based on their performances this season for Worcester, and then you throw in the youthful exuberance of Charlotte Wright-Haley. You've got a pretty potent back three there to do damage at the breakdown, but at the moment it's all about Quins in attack. Burford steps inside, but well chopped by one of those back rowers, Callender. Quins do well to retain possession. Burford back on the ball. She's so many impacts on the game so far. Tipped on
Backwards
by Quins.
Backwards of Quins, sorry.
Backwards off Quins is the call from the referee. Scott seeks, weaves, finds a way before Quins go to the boot. That's a nasty one to field, but expertly done so by Worcester in the backfield. Ball stripped in the tackle. Quins back in possession.
No, it's all backwards for me.
Another turnover attempt, this time from Vicky Laughlin.
Holding on.
And Quins holding on in the tackle too long. Callender on the ball.
Holding on.
Just possession ping-ponging between the two sides at the moment.
Yeah, Worcester back row. That was a really, really nice turnover from the Wales international, Alex Callender, and just giving them another lifeline in their 22. And a nice exit there as well.
Quins on the line. Quins on the line, please. Thank you.
Quins the dominant side in attack at the moment, but it is important to say that they do have a hearty wind behind them in this first half, and you could see from the kick to touch, you know, minimal purchase on a good kick, and that's the strength of the wind. Do you think that's going to play into the minds of the players out there today?
Yeah, absolutely. This pitch is always so windy, so you've always got, you know, the advantage on your one end, but when you're working against the wind, it's extremely difficult. Quins currently having that advantage, and we're still having to, as you say, not getting much advantage from not a bad kick. But obviously the second half, that'll all flip, so just need to be patient with it.
What will be being said in that Worcester huddle right there? You know, you've got the likes of Brincat in there, Carol Thomas, some experienced campaigners.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it will just be patience. They'll be going over points that they've noticed. Things are going well, things are going wrong. You know, the score is very much still competitive, and they'll be wanting to continue that. So I think just to regather and get ready for this next line out.
Just hold the throw, please, Josh. Wait for water.
Incredibly challenging
Just wait for
throwing
water,
conditions for Phillips to contend with.
Time on.
The line out has gone well for Worcester. They go safe at the front. Phillips finds her woman, and Worcester are on the attack. Slips from the grass, but it goes backwards. And Bradley frees up. Long coming around the corner. Again, the ball spilt, but going backwards. Worcester still in possession. More big carrying from Worcester on this far side. They are struggling though to get any sort of penetration. The Quins defence so strong. They revert to the boot.
Well done.
Just shy of touch. Jade Mullen
Always on the ball.
clattered by a good chase from Worcester. Again, big defence, good offloading from Quins. Duffy and Edwards linking up as a two to drive through the hole. Scott goes out the back to Burford, who spills forward.
Knock-ons both ways. First one by Quins.
Before knocked on by Laughlin, and it is a Worcester ball.
Yeah, no, that's unfortunate there. I think Quins did really well. Their defensive pressure was making it extremely difficult for Worcester to exit, so they've had to go with a kick, and then unfortunately just losing the ball as soon as they've regained possession.
Well, here we go. Flo Long brings some valuable go forward
No, she's gone.
to Worcester. Bradley finds Buckland. Harry, who has Thomas in support. Better from Worcester. Beautiful line from Karis Cox. She's ignored with the pass.
The tackle was made.
Worcester still have possession. Sarah Nicholas.
9 on the ball. Worcester 13 isolated. You're doing exactly the same thing. Rachel, you're doing exactly the same thing.
Plenty of discussion for the referee to contend with out there. The breakdown appearing to be a hot topic.
Yeah, I think it's getting a bit messy in that breakdown, isn't it? Lots and lots of penalties are being given with both teams actually, and
Rachel,
yeah, Quinn's just getting the penalty
You've done the
there.
same thing
I think
down
they'll
there as well.
be
Do you
they'll be
leave the
relieved
ball
with that,
alone?
and they'll hope to
We'll let you go
sort of
quick.
get down
Well,
into the other half of the pitch in a more comfortable zone for them.
Sean Ed. Look, okay, we've had the chat about them holding onto the ball down there. Your 12's doing exactly the same thing. There's one from each side. Just here, she's taking the ball away. Okay, leave the ball alone after the whistle, please. Okay, same chat with both teams.
So, good exercise in diplomacy for referee Ben Ward today, managing some of the personalities out there who've got reasonably strong opinions on how the breakdown should be refereed.
Look, for me, both times,
Yeah, you know, I
we
think
had
it's always
clear access to the
difficult.
tackle's been made.
Players
Okay.
are always going to have
Yeah,
their
yeah, play-
opinions, and as are the
keep
referees,
dominant
and but unfortunately, what the ref says goes. So the girls will have to listen to that and
I watched the impact for me. I think
and just get
the tackle's
get the
still been made. This one was still a
heads
dominant
on
tackle,
and continue.
There is only
sorry,
one
we're
whistle
still
out
holding
there.
for them.
There may be
Absolutely, yes.
there may be 47 opinions out there, but there is only one
Time's
whistle.
off. We'll let the physio go.
Oh, Flo Long
Time's back on.
is up on her feet.
Holding on.
She's been impressive in this opening half, which only a few
Backwards.
minutes remain. She's been busy in the Six Nations mix. The former England under-20. Wow, what a shot. Whew.
Just there with
Couldn't quite see who put that in. But
Yeah, it was a brilliant effort from the edge player. I'm not entirely sure who that was, but they've flung the Worcester player right out into the pitch, and Quins will look forward to having a line out now.
hopefully we get another look at that one, because you could hear it before you could see it
Yeah, absolutely.
from where we are on the other side of the field. Burford takes it to the line. Offload to Vixton. The ball dislodged in the tackle. Excellent defence before Farries cleans things up. Worcester They want one more attack before the half's done, trailing by 3. Their own worst enemy at times in this half with their handling.
That was unlucky there from Lauren Brooks, making a great line break. She's done that all season. She's really grown into her rugby. Been really outstanding actually, and yeah, just unfortunate to get the knock on there.
It was an excellent tackle from behind, dislodging the ball in the process. Worcester send the ball high, long into Harlequins backfield. Emily Scott returns for Vixton. Once again, carries through the middle. So much work done. Katie Mew this time in the red head guard. Finds herself isolated. Another breakdown penalty. Both back rows just hungry for it on the floor at the moment today.
That's a nice turnover. I think that was Flo Long who got that one, which is exceptional for number 3 today.
Yeah, Jo Yap was saying before the game that, you know, her involvement in this England Six Nations squad, that she's just come back buzzing from just being surrounded by those players, being in the environment, and you know, she's visibly grown in that short period of time training with the Six Nations squad.
Absolutely, such an opportunity for a young player to be involved in development Six Nations squad, and yeah, lots for her to learn. But she's been phenomenal this season and continued to grow in this game as well.
Well, Brinkat makes sure of it from Phillips' throw in the line out, and Worcester launch an attack. Shekels to Farries, releases Laughlin down the left hand side, looks for support on the inside. The ball goes loose.
All off the boot.
Great cover tackle there from Burford, keeping up with a really speedy winger.
Use it, 9.
The call to use it.
That 5.
The referee very generous with the 5 seconds, having called for Quins to use it. But into Farry's hands, the try scorer who picked off the intercept early in this first half. Her and the rest of the Worcester back 3 of Kershaw and Laughlin been starved of opportunities since then, but much better from the women in blue to close out this half. Only a few seconds remaining. Our clock not entirely accurate, remember. Huge hit in the midfield and stolen in the tackle. Can Quins score a try to finish the half from the good work in the midfield? They're dragged down 10 metres short.
Fine.
Worcester over, the ball was out. A missed opportunity for Harlequins from the big tackle from Vixton. And Worcester clear the lines. Be relief.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate. A great steal from Tove there, just making a little break. Izzy Mayhew getting involved as well on her shoulder. It's just really unfortunate. Didn't look after the ball at the breakdown, and once again Worcester just causing absolute mayhem at the breakdown, and able to just escape from that.
They're causing problems for Quins at the breakdown. Really niggly, really tough. And they're looking to compete on the line out as well. Cleaned up nicely by Chloe Edwards, who rolls one too many times after the contact. A penalty to Worcester.
Preventing the jackal.
You heard there from the referee, preventing the jackal. They're being increasingly hot on this extra roll at contact, and I have to say I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can no longer roll sort of in contact, and referee quite rightfully picking up on that there.
Thank you. Just on this dash, please.
Back row of Worcester causing Quins some trouble, but their experience is coming to show. You know, got lots of Wales caps in that back row, and
yeah. So for me, the tackle is complete. You just can't keep rolling to prevent the jackal.
Yeah, being very, very competitive over that ball.
A last chance for Worcester to attack, but
Option again.
It was almost like
Scrum.
an extra gust of wind blew at the exact moment it left Phillips' hands.
Yeah, once again that halfway line causing trouble with lineouts not being straight.
It's not straight.
And
Scrum down.
as we say, it's extremely windy out here, so it's difficult
Last time,
to
good scrum.
get
Same
it straight.
again,
So it'll
please.
be a scrum to Quins.
Nine, I'll step.
Last scrum,
Nine, I'll step straight back for you, okay?
the call from referee Ben Woods. Lucy Packer
Crouch!
communicating
Five.
with Emily Scott.
It's great to see Packer starting on the field today as well. Very, very young player with lots of potential. It's brilliant to see her leading out here today.
Vixton carries before circling back to Packer, who brings her blindside winger Beth Wilcock into proceedings. Another turnover, this time
8 wasn't part of the tackle.
Harry's. How many turnovers?
Yeah, brilliant drive from Beth there, making such good ground, and unfortunately Quinn's players just not able to support Beth at that breakdown, and once again the Worcester back row getting that turnover.
Well, Worcester making touch by a whisker. Wilcock doing her level best to keep it in field.
Hold the space, okay? Was to set your space and hold it, okay?
And Worcester get another bite at the line-out cherry, albeit 20 metres more promoted up the field and into the Quins' half. Good drills, but
No, it's off your own player.
lost on the transfer down. Bradley looking to affect the turnover that time, but unable to. Quins march forward over the halfway line. Head down and forward, direct stuff from Quins. They seek a bit of width, but Worcester a match for it. Tighter carry, but Wright Haley's there to make the tackle. She's been good this first half. Her first start for Worcester.
Holding on, 4 is isolated.
And Worcester's
Strong off the ball.
turnover
Thank you.
performance continues to defy belief.
If you tap and go to
And
touch
it's
the mark.
every jersey. It doesn't matter what number. This time, Vicky Laughlin.
Yeah, it's unfortunate there. Alex Eddy just getting the tip on and making a little break, but once again isolated with no players around her. And yeah, Worcester clearly working on their breakdown work, but they're doing really well off that, and making it extremely difficult for Quins to get over the gain line.
Well, it's a long half of rugby at the moment, Heather. I was expecting the half-time whistle to have gone quite a number of minutes ago. As I said, our clock on the scoreboard isn't precisely in line with the referee, but it does present an opportunity for Worcester to launch one more attack. And they do so by bringing Laughlin into the line, but well read by the Harlequins defence. Recycled well by Worcester before they lose it forward. Advantage being played to Harlequins. Who's that over there? Looks like Carol Thomas being the nuisance in the breakdown as Quins continue to play with advantage. Vixton has a blast before Duffy gets involved. Orkin, great footwork. Emily Scott, rather.
Off the ball! Well done, hands on the floor first.
Packer uses some cute invention to put pressure on the Worcester defence, going over the top, but it's a chance to counter. And counter Abby Kershaw does. She's over the halfway line before a great transfer to Vicky Laughlin.
No one! Right.
Worcester smell a try scoring opportunity into the hands of Buckland Harry.
Tackle away! Well done.
Caris Cox has her pathway blocked. She looks to try and go through that quartered defence. The possession is in Quinn's hands, but it's knocked forward. Miscommunication sees Chloe Edwards take her hands off the ball and her eyes. Sinead Harries, this time the carrier.
This is good, but we'll come back for the knock-on.
Advantage was being played. Worcester get another chance, and they could go in with the lead if they can use this possession right.
Yeah, absolutely. A brilliant sort of break from the Worcester back three, just giving their team front foot ball and the forwards coming along to support it and making their way down the pitch. Unfortunate knock on there from Quins will just be very, very detrimental to their position at half time if Worcester get the points in here.
Well, I'm loath to say that this is their last opportunity, because I thought it was their last opportunity at least 5 minutes ago.
10 minutes ago.
It is the never-ending half of rugby at the moment.
Yeah, potentially his watch has stopped or something, who knows.
You can't end the half in a free kick.
Well, this will be a concern to see Flo Longdown just receiving some attention. She received some earlier in the half. Seems only superficial, and she's been patched up. She's been excellent in all facets of the game so far, carrying, breakdown work. And speaking of which, Wright Haley hasn't been bad either. She's taken the play up to the 22 before Harries
Just release the ball.
takes things up another gear. But the turnover from Quins.
Katie Mew there, coming in over the ball really quickly. What a turnover. It's very, very important for Quins here. Brilliant work from her.
Crucial turnover. The tap from Scott. The laces through the ball. And that
the whistle expected.
is the whistle finally coming to end this first half of action that's had plenty to it. Error strewn at times, but sprinkled with touches of class. Worcester Warriors opening the scoring through a Paige Farry's interception, but then it was Alex Eddy and Freya Orkin who got Harlequins into the lead, and they kept a hold of it despite late Worcester pressure. It is Harlequins 10, Worcester 7 at the half-time break. Which side will be happiest, Heather?
Well, I think it's been a really, really good half of rugby, hasn't it? We've seen some really good performances from some individuals. You know, I think the Worcester back three, Vicky Laughlin and Abby Kershaw, Paige Farry's, they've looked dangerous on the ball when they've had opportunities, albeit they've been slightly limited. And then the Worcester back row just really impressing with a number of turnovers, but then I think Quins are coming into contact a little bit isolated, and unfortunately just losing out there to the Worcester back row. But Quins have looked really, really dangerous in defence, and I think they've been really strong there. Their line speeds putting pressure on Worcester and causing those numerous handling areas that we've seemed to have this half. But now I think we're in for a good second half. I think the girls have stepped up with the likes of Freya Orkin, you know, making her first start, but she's got really, really involved in the game. A number of good carries, and yeah, I'm excited for the second half.
Well, among the glut of turnover penalties that have been affected by both sides, and maybe one too many handling errors, there were 3 wonderful tries in there. We're going to take a look at those, starting with Paige Farry's, who opened proceedings for the game for Worcester Warriors with a smartly taken interception after only 5 minutes. There she is, just popping up in the Harlequins midfield when they were looking to put early width on the ball, moving left. And from there, well, there's no stopping a player of her class and her pace. But Quins, they responded immediately, didn't they?
Yeah, absolutely. A brilliant intercept from Paige, showing her experience. But, you know, straight from the kick-off and the get-go of the restart from the try, Quins were eager to play in the comfortable zone and get over the try line. They had one held up and then shortly got over the line after that. I think highlights their grit and determination to get the win today.
Well, no sooner had they replied with a try of their own, they took the lead through Freya Orkin, but it all came from big work from Tova Vixton, who has really impressed with her energy and just general influence around the field.
Yeah, Tove stepped up today. Lots and lots of carrying from her. She's also put in some really, really good hits. making that break over the other side of the field to allow Freya to get the space and go over the line. A brilliant achievement to achieve the 50 caps for Quins. I think there's only a small number of players who have done that, and it's great to see her being really, really successful on the team. She also plays internationally for Sweden, actually Sweden's captain, so it's great. She's got a lot of experience on her head, and it's great for her to be able to show that in this younger, more inexperienced side that Quins have out today.
So half-time here in Guildford, Harlequins 10, Worcester Warriors 7. We did try and catch up with her before the game, but the returning captain playing 12 for Harlequins, we fortunately have a video that we pre-recorded with her.
I think when the rumours started, circulating around the team, there was just such a real excitement, like an opportunity to play at Twickenham. I've been fortunate to do it for my country at Twickenham, but for a lot of players haven't had that opportunity. So straight away, irrelevant of who the opposition was at that point, hearing rumours that you could have the chance to run out of Twickenham, the home of English rugby, and wearing your club colours, like everybody was buzzing about it. And then when we heard we were going to be playing a team, overseas, not played them before, obviously we've got a few familiar names in that side, just this big excitement around this big occasion. And I think it was the first real big club together moment we had, like doing something alongside the men, and it was just a brilliant opportunity, and we couldn't wait to get involved in it.
You've got a good friend in the Leinster team that you faced up against. Who was that? Yeah,
Sene Narapu. So she plays 12 as well. She used to play here at Harlequins as 13 with me. So really good history of her. And having that opportunity to play against players a lot of people wouldn't have ever experienced. So it was just brilliant to play against her again and have some banter flying around and saying to her she's in the wrong colour shirt and things. But no, it was a brilliant day out, brilliant occasion.
When you walked out of the tunnel and there was flamethrowers, there was everything going on, and then the fans screaming. Just can you describe what that felt like?
Yeah, I mean, it's an incredible moment because everything feels very still as you're walking out. You can feel the cold air coming from the stadium, and then you're hearing the crowds. You can see the flames and the flags, and it's just such a wonderful moment. And obviously, being the home club, we had all our family and friends there. So knowing that you got to play at the home of English rugby with your friends and your family there, it's just such an incredible feeling. It's the pinnacle of anybody's playing career to try and play at Twickenham. Whether that's in a club or in a representative country shirt. So I guess walking out is kind of that stillness, and then that surreal, like looking around and feeling it, big smiles on everybody's faces, and just the energy is so good, and that rippled off every single player from the crowd, and just that moment was amazing. I think to be a part of the club when they're breaking attendance records like that is phenomenal, and it's taken the game to the next level. We obviously compete in our domestic league, but then to go overseas and find a club in Leinster to come and play us, it's just it's another step, another level up, and we're so proud to be a part of that and set that standard and create that history. To have the most amount of people watching a domestic game in the women's game is phenomenal, and I'm so proud and privileged to be a part of Harlequins that set those standards and go after those. So yeah, it was a real special moment, but not just for us, for the girls in blue as well, for Leinster, the opportunity for them to come over and play us and get the opportunity to play at Twickenham and see what the English standard is like. I think that's another thing that we showcased what the English Premiership is all about. I think it made a huge impact on the women's game. I think suddenly you started talking about, well, where's the European competition? Like we see in the men's, why don't we have this more often and more crossover? And so it just definitely generated more interest, lots of conversations, and I believe those conversations have continued to go on. Obviously, we can't wait to be back at Twickenham and playing in the big game again. Whoever that team might be that we're facing. But that's what I love about Harlequins. It's like we could play at the Stoop, but let's go one better than that. Let's raise the profile anymore. Let's go across the road. Let's go play at Twickenham. Let's get as many people as we can in. Let's be side by side with the men and do things differently. And that's what the Harlequins way is all about. It's being unpredictable and doing things outside the box, not just the bog standard stuff. It's always trying to go that one step further.
What was your favourite moment from that game? I think I know what it is. What was your favourite moment?
When Jada Franco proposed to me. I think there was lots of moments. I think just being really proud of all the players who got the opportunity to play there. That was a really big moment because I personally had experienced it before, and I just knew what an honour it is. And so that was a really special moment for us as a whole squad to feel together and be a part of. You know, it's always great scoring at Twickenham, and Ellie Green putting a little chip through for me to get onto. Was obviously a personal special moment as well. I don't score many tries, so the fact that then I pull one out at Twickenham, I'll take that one.
So tell me about the build up to the game, because it was quite exciting.
Yeah, it was really exciting because obviously we heard wind that it was going to happen, and then Atlanta St John at the time, she was like, it's not confirmed yet guys, hold your horses. But as soon as it was all go. There was lots of press around it. We had a media day down at Twickenham, lots of photos. Myself and one of the men's players, we were in the change rooms and kind of reminiscing the opportunities that I've had and what it feels like. And you know, the moments when you're in the changing room and you can just hear the roar and you can hear the excitement, and you know, you're like, all of a sudden you're going to be out there in a moment. So it literally, as soon as you get into that changing room, it started building. So we spoke about that, and then we kind of walked the pitch, and it was just, yeah, a lovely opportunity to start building the excitement, getting loads of fans in, whether you know you're supporting Leinster or you're supporting Harlequins. We wanted to be a really big showcase for the game.
So how many game changes have you been involved in now?
I'm proud to say I've been involved in all 3 of them, which is great for me as a player for Harlequins, and yeah, it's good to be part of the journey so far.
You were in a pretty interesting advert for one of the later game changes.
Yeah.
Tell me about what that video entailed.
So it was myself, coach Karen Finley, and Zoe Sainer. Were 3 people who had careers as well as rugby, alongside rugby. I was a firefighter, Zoe Sainer's a scientist / lecturer, and Jock Karen Finley is a police officer. And so we had mini-me's, because part of the game changer, it's about our legacy and not only what we're doing now, but what younger girls and women coming through want to achieve. And the best bit for me was the fact that I had a little mini-me, and like weirdly enough, she actually looked like me and she had her big hair like me, and we bonded really well. And weirdly, I still speak to her mum now, which is quite strange, but it's still, again, it's part of the legacy. And like my mini-me, she's an athlete herself, she's a gymnast, and again, like still speaking to her mum, she still looks up to me and what I'm achieving. But it's very much about her being able to achieve more, and her coming on to doing that video was the first time she was exposed to any rugby, so she's got a bit of an interest in it now. But again, it's just about exposing our younger people, our young girls to different sports, and the fact that you don't have to specialise and you can go out and achieve it. Essentially, a lot of it is just about being exposed to it and just understanding that there is so much opportunity out there. It's not all going to come to you, but sometimes you've got to go out and grab it.
How did it feel to be part of that video and part of promoting that game?
So being part of the video, it makes you feel special. It makes you feel like, as a woman, sometimes we're almost afraid to be centre of attention. I personally quite like it, and I I own it. And even saying that, like, I'll get so much jip for it, but I enjoy it, so I'll take it when it comes. But actually, it's part of the build up, and it's not just a game, it's the game changer. It's something now, it's in not only the Harlequins calendar, like it's in the women's rugby calendar, and so many even other clubs, number one, look forward to it and look forward to coming to watch if they can, but also they are trying to do similar things as well. And it's an honour in itself to number one, to be a part of that campaign and to be a part of a club who does things like that. And dare I say it felt like I wouldn't want to say, the first thing that comes to mind is almost felt like being a man in rugby, that you felt important, you felt like this was big. I don't want to feel like a man in rugby. I want to feel like a strong woman. So like things like that becoming normal is hopefully the way forward and where we're going, and Harlequins is always pushing the envelope on that. But yeah, it was a real honour, and like I take all those opportunities like that with pride, and part of the reason why I do succeed is because I happily say yes to opportunities. And some people will be shy and they're sort of, you've got to talk them round to it, but actually it's not only great fun doing it in the moment, you can look back on it, but it's just, again, it's all part of the legacy. It's looking, remember that time when Harlequins done that video in preparation to that game, and actually maybe in 5 to 6 years time it'll be, oh yeah, that's what we do for most games now. So it's just that Harlequins being the one to start it, and then other clubs following through, and eventually it just becoming about rugby rather than women's rugby or men's rugby.
Well, welcome back, everybody. And I think most importantly, I need to make an apology for calling Caris Phillips, because it's not Caris Phillips out there playing hooker for Worcester. Heather.
No, it's Carmen Tremelling. Unfortunately, Caris got injured in the warm-up and was no longer able to take part. So thank you, Mr. Amy Cockayne, for providing us with the inside knowledge. Much appreciated.
Yes, a late change for us that we weren't aware of. Let's look at the other fixtures that are going on at the moment. As you can see, some very, very exciting developments out there. DMP in the lead at Bristol, searching for that elusive win. DMP Sharks, 10 apiece with Gloucester Hartbury and Wasp, and Saracens beating Loughborough Lightning. And the other one being Exeter Chiefs, losing to Sale currently. Exeter Chiefs who've impressed so much in this first season, looking like they might just be undone by one of the other new kids on the block, Sale. So lots going on, nip and tuck, a big break for all the sides, absentees, and maybe nerves jangling a little bit as we approach this playoff period. We'll try and keep you updated with all those scores. But speaking of nip and tuck, we've got a 3-point game here in Guildford. And it's in Harlequins' favour, but it's Worcester who are on the attack, looking to break out of their half, having kicked off. The wind behind Worcester's backs. Harlequins allow it to bounce. It's awkward. Jade Mullen does very, very well before finding Burford, who's on the wraparound. Good offload play from Harlequins. Mullen driving forward. Orkin gets involved. Packer finds Shekels in her way, but eventually gets the ball out. Fumbled slightly, but recovered. Packer probes down the blind side. Orkin held up by 2 in the tackle. Farries and Shekel. She manages to wrestle herself to the floor before Dobson. The little hooker dynamo is well tackled by Amelia Buckland-Hurry. Strong attack and strong defence in these opening exchanges of the second half. Looking to impose themselves early. Huge hit from Worcester, forces the knock on. That time it was Vicky Laughlin. And a big win defensively for Worcester, with Harlequins looking good in attack.
Yeah, both teams coming out with some real fire there. And yeah, Quinn's just unfortunately not being able to capitalise that. But Worcester haven't quite made touch there, and Jade's having to pick up.
Well, they haven't made touch, but the ball has been rumbling and jumbling around so awkwardly that Jade Mullen only just manages to get on it by diving on it.
Hold it front, Quins.
This wind really proving to be a menace. Oh, very, very good from Sarah Nicholas in the end, if not unorthodox. Worcester on the attack. And you feel that this wind is going to become increasingly influential as the game goes on. It's actually picked up a little bit more. Wonderful line, but a huge hit. Straight back up. The intensity has ratcheted up after the half-time break. Good tackle from Orkin on Cox going through the hull. Farries, the try scorer. Again met by Orkin, who's working hard.
No, not now. Too long.
Bradley burrowing around, manages to dig it out eventually. For Harries to charge forward. Inside ball to Cox. Another good carry from her. Dobson blasted off when trying for the turnover. Ends up lying on the long side. It's a quick tap from Worcester. The tempo high. Looking for the opening score of the half, but a forward pass to Katie Mattinson, who looks to have come on at the break. But a high-octane start to this half, Heather.
Yeah, both teams really providing that pressure, and Quinn's just not able to keep hold of that ball, unfortunately.
Well, Worcester really starting with a spring in their step. Mattinson's on to play scrum half. What is she going to bring to this team?
Yeah, I think she's come on and she's just provided that quick ball. I think Worcester are now able to get that ball out really quickly and play with tempo to get on that front foot.
Well, Tremling finds her jumper, as she did most of the time in the first half. Huge energy from Taz Bricknell, who's come on at the half-time wearing 19. Laughlin stretches her legs, but the offload on the inside picked off by Quinns, who are in all-out defence mode at the moment.
Yeah, great defence there from Quinns. Vicky Laughlin's dangerous on the side of the pitch, so when she's running down there, you got to do some effort to stop her, and they've just managed to do that. But we've got a Worcester line out.
The Worcester line-out drill once again supreme. Brinkat
You can't form the move. Accidental offside.
taking it cleanly and bringing it down.
You can't form the move.
But
you can't form a move between the 22s.
the new law variations for the COVID era of Premier 15 cannot form a maul, as you heard from the referee. So a turnover's Harlequins, and that'd be hugely frustrating for Worcester.
So you've set
Worcester.
you can't form a move.
Yeah.
I've seen the player go behind. I've seen the player just slip behind.
Healthy back and forth between all the players once again, Heather.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll keep an eye. Okay.
It's been a good first sort of 10 minutes or so of the first half.
Yeah, so they're saying you can't form the move.
Mainly Quinns being in their own half, so Worcester really
So
piling
for me,
on that
I've
pressure.
just slipped behind and you've started moving forward. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
I think now Quinns are playing sort of against the wind. They're having to struggle with that, and Worcester have that in their favour now. So, it's only 10-7. They know they've come out. They've got the wind behind them, and
Time on.
they're gonna look to sort of bring it this half with the wind in their favour.
Time off again. Okay. Real good, James, for subs. Time
So replacements coming on for Harlequins. Try and keep you abreast of what's happening there. Looks like Hannah Dennis wearing 19 on for her Quinns debut. An exciting moment, but a worrying moment for Quinns. Abby Kershaw begins to move through the gears.
Play on. She took the ball.
A brilliant cover tackle there from Jade Mullen to allow them to stop Abby Kershaw in her pace, and just an unfortunate knock on there from Worcester. Just going into touch.
Well, the initial burst from Kershaw was pacey, beginning to gather more and more of it before, as you said, an excellent tackle. And then the handling error from Farries, tight on the right touchline. Quinns launch an up and under. Farries batters it back and does put some pressure on Kershaw, who pirouettes out of one, then two, before being slung to the floor.
Timing's fine.
Excellent charge down from Bradley on her opposite number. And Lucy Packer, what play. The charge down, the gather, and then the pace. Harlequins make it their third try of the match.
Yeah, brilliant charge out from Packer there. She's so small, but she's managed to charge that down. And she's extremely pacey. Once Packer gets hold of that ball, there's no stopping her. She's absolutely rapid, and she's able to finish there, which is brilliant for Quins. And they'll use that now to carry their momentum through into the later stages of the half.
Well, she did so well to charge down and gather all in the same motion. And from that moment on, the sevens exponent wasn't going to be caught. Previously part of the Wales Sevens programme, actually, before joining up with Simon Middleton's England. But great harrying, being a real pest like every good scrum half should be.
Yeah, absolutely. She's phenomenal. And I mean, yeah, brilliant to see her getting some tries in. Absolutely epic.
So Worcester with all the attack in the second half so far, but an individual bit of class from young Lucy Packer at scrum half for Quins has given them the first points of the half and made the task of Worcester's to get back into this game that bit taller. Scott adding the conversion as well to rub salt into the wound.
Inside for me. Yeah, thank you.
But Worcester will get a chance to launch an attack straight away from 10 metres.
Hooker.
Yeah, it's a nice clearance kick there from Scott. The wind's really tough, so she's done well there to reach touch. And Worcester will now go with the line out.
Wasn't entirely clean from Worcester, but they do come away with the ball and in to Flo Long's hands. Incredible energy from Long. Shekel links up with Cox at pace onto the ball, but dispossessed in the tackle. And Quins striking with transition ball. Chloe Edwards at first receiver this time. Katie Mew. Quins looking good in attack here. They find some space in behind Laughlin. The ball trickling out. But this is the area of the field that Quins will want to play their rugby.
Yeah, absolutely. Massive hit from Burford there, causing the turnover. Just getting that knock on, and Quins able to get over gain line. Lovely kick from Scott. Just finding that touch, and it's rolling out, and they're in a position where they like to be.
Worcester, we're inside, okay?
Much more positive from Quins there, just able to clear their lines successfully.
Okay, we'll wait for the lace before time on. Okay.
No injury.
Time on.
But a short pause for Lauren Brooks to do her lace. A young player who's come into her own a bit this season.
Yeah, absolutely. She's gone from strength to strength this season, running some amazing lines and really just breaking through. She's had a number of starts now this season, has really shown her depth in the squad. She's an absolute workhorse, loves to carry, loves to tackle, and she's been an asset to the team this year, so it's been really great.
Thank you.
Well, for many, they'll be focusing on the host of players that Harlequins are missing, all their international stars, but really this is an excellent exploration into the depth of what Quins have at their disposal at the club.
Yeah, we're so lucky that we have, loads of international players in sort of all nations at the club, but a weekend like this where they're all off on international duty, it's given lots of younger players the experience to come out in the shirt. Lots of debuts today, lots of first starts today, and it's amazing to see them all performing and gelling well as a team.
Hold the space. Let's get the ball in quickly.
It's one of those where players are forced to come of age because they're so used to looking around and seeing these big established players who in times of crisis they'll lead the charge, but when you look around and you realise I'm actually one of the most senior players now, it's up to me to do the job. That's when you grow as a player.
Yeah, absolutely. And the likes of Tove, for example, on her 50th cap, she'll be able to lead the team, lead the younger players as well. Likes of Fee Fletcher, who's
Front pass.
got so many caps and is really, really experienced as well. So lots of experienced heads, but also some newer players as well.
Well, Fee Fletcher is currently in a bit of a race with Chloe Edwards because they're the most capped AP15s players for Quins, I think. 66 and 65. Fee Fletcher just one behind, so...
Fun fact about Fee Fletcher, she started every single Quins game that she's played. She's never come off the bench, which just shows how, key she is to the team. She hits every breakdown and just does... She's the unsung hero of the team.
The unsung hero doing the dirty work in the dark areas that you don't want to stick your head into. But it's Worcester who need to shine, and they need to shine quick in the glorious sunshine of the Surrey Sports Park, because they trail by 10 points. They've looked better in this second half, more assured, more purposeful in their attack, less errors. Although that's a loose pass, well dealt with, but loses them a few metres. Another big, strong carry from Flo Long, but ripped in the tackle. Quins in transition. Picked up by Dennis, her first major involvement in the game.
7-0!
Joined the club midway through the season. The ball squirms out of the breakdown. Advantage being played to Harlequins. Side entry on this occasion.
Yeah, great steal from Berth there. Just getting Quins the possession that they need. And hopefully they can capitalise here. I think it looks like Scott might go for touch here. With the new rules, we can only maul in their 22, so they'll be able to maul here.
Are you calling it early, Hallie?
I'm calling it.
Calling it early.
I don't know, I don't want to preempt, but...
Okay. Yeah. And once
They're driving maul.
the contest is over.
Tell you what, you might be missing the likes of Shauna Brown, Amy Cockayne, Sarah Beckett, but some powerful individuals left in that 8. It goes to the new girl, Dennis, and a big quartered swirl of bodies begin to rotate their way to the Worcester line. It's considered. It's consistent. It's over the line. It's not quite there. The referee fainted, his arm going up. I thought he was going to award it, but Quins still have work to do. They continue to rumble round the corner. Worcester throwing their bodies on the line, doing all they can to stop what feels like an irresistible drive towards the 4th try and the bonus. Again, Worcester are strong.
Yeah, the forwards from both teams working exceptionally hard here to try and defend or attack over the line. Just needs to be patient here and look after the ball.
Off Worcester!
Well, Dennis was practically clattered by her by her own player, who was trying to force her through the hole.
Tackle, no way!
Quins still have it. They drive again.
Away 7-0!
Still short. Epic defence from Worcester Warriors. Can they hold out?
Use it!
Quins jersey clustered round the ball. They continue to fight for every inch. Worcester, can they hold them off this time? Held up.
Yeah, it's exceptional defence there from Worcester. They've kept Quins off their try line. Really, really hard work for them, but they've done a really good job in holding Quins up there. So we'll go down for a scrum.
Well, that was quite magnificent defence from Worcester. For all money, it was attack after attack. And miraculously, they held Quins off.
Yeah, the pack just putting their bodies on the line and being very, very successful at that and managing to hold Quins out.
Well, as you can imagine, a few lungs under duress after that passage of play. The water's on. There is a Harlequins player receiving some treatment just behind that huddle. Can't quite make out who it is.
Yeah, I'm sure the forwards will be grateful for this water break, and I'm sure the backs will be screaming for the ball. There's lots of open space out in the field, but often they like to keep the ball in and play it for the forwards. But as a winger, you know, you always want that ball to come out.
I was going to ask this, because there must be times when you're tearing your hair out on that flank, acres of space, and the forwards just continue to pick and go and grind teams down, when you could put some air on it and you be in open space.
Yeah. I mean, you love for that sort of thing to happen. Just get the ball wide, but you know, I think it's wise for them to keep it in with the forwards and look after the ball. Just be patient with it. But of course, as a winger, you always want to get involved. And then you just think, why don't I just go and do the pick and goes?
Well, that's the trend, isn't it, for the driving mauls these days? Yeah. That when it looks like it's inevitably going to roll across the line, you suddenly see a centre pop up and come and join them all at the back in an effort to bump their try-scoring numbers up.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a team effort, hey.
Team effort. That's
something like that.
That's an interesting way of spinning it, Heather.
Yes.
Well, with 54 minutes on the clock, quite a lengthy injury break here. We can be guaranteed of some extra time added on. And it looks like we're back now. Energy levels restored as well from a fierce passage of pick and go play from Quins. This feels like a really crucial try in the grand scheme of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. It could potentially be the turning point for Quins if they're able to get over the line here. But, you know, Worcester defence has been really, really strong. As you've just seen, they're able to hold them up over the line. So it's going to be a big battle here.
Set.
Well, we've seen plenty of power from Quins. You wouldn't get a bet against Packer sniping round the side. An offload to the scrum half scorer. Again, Worcester up for the challenge. Cox and Shekels working in unison in the centres, and they've held up the Quins attack and won the turnover. A huge defensive win for Worcester.
Yeah, great line speed there from Worcester. Really angry to sort of get that ball, and yeah, absolutely well done to Worcester. Really, really good defence there.
1 and 4 Worcester. 1 and 4.
I think Quins will be disappointed not to capitalise on that, because you know they had the ball. It's their scrum, so they'll be really disappointed with that.
It seemed to see Fee Fletcher there at the base picking up instead of Tova Vixton. Is that an intentional ploy to shift those two around?
Yeah, potentially. Fee's had a lot of experience at sort of the base of the scrum at 8 this season, and so maybe just feels a little bit more comfortable with the ball at her feet.
Set.
So no doubt the Quinn scrum more powerful last time, but Worcester obliterate them on the shove. A loose pass recovered by Cox.
Move.
Eventually, Worcester wrestle the ball to the floor. Worcester players screaming for it out wide on the left.
Ball was available and you deliberately killed it. Ball was available, but you then deliberately killed it. Deliberately killing the ball.
It's unfortunate there for Quins, just discipline, and now Worcester have the wind in their favour.
With that kick to touch, taking us just shy of the 10-metre line, that is pretty much the perfect repulsion by Worcester to be under that much pressure from Harlequins, but then to fight them off, win the penalty, and now with the throw-in.
Yeah, they've had a really, really good 10 minutes and defended excellently, and they'll be pleased to have a big, deep breath and go again.
Well, in amongst the play, we've had another influx of replacements, one of which Akina Gondwe, making her first appearance of the season. Quite a meteoric rise for the youngster. But Quins are free on the right in the hands of Wilcock, and Wilcock has scored. A try from nothing for Beth Wilcock. The bonus point secured for Quins. It just popped up perfectly for her. And she had all the gas in the world to round a despairing Farries and score what feels like it could be the decisive try.
Yeah, absolutely a lovely little chip through and a great gather from Beth there and a wonderful finish. I think, yeah, that could potentially be the turning point now. It's a shame for Worcester. They've been fighting so hard to keep Quins off of their line, and unfortunately just that little chip through caught them off guard, and Quins have found another way through.
Immensely frustrating for Worcester after all that hard work to get themselves away from their line, up towards the halfway, but impressive pace and a wonderful bounce as well for Beth Wilcock as well. Oh, and maximised by a wonderful kick from Emily Scott. 7 points added to the Quins total. It is Harlequins 24, Worcester Warriors 7, with 56 minutes played.
Yeah, I think Quins will continue to look to build this scoreline now. You know, they'll be able to get some confidence from the points that they just scored, and hopefully continue to open up and play. We've not seen our sort of backs do too much in this game. It's been quite a forward-dominated game, so it'll be good to see the backs run around and get a bit of ball.
Worcester come away with possession, rampaging through the middle by Harries. Can Worcester reply? Shekels steps right, looks left, weaves back to the hand of the replacement. As I was saying, her first appearance of the season, returning from an injury, looking to make her mark on her first game back. A little nibble on the pass from Worcester before Liz Shermer takes it up ahead. Mattinson snakes back left. Laughlin inside. Huge collision. The offload that spilt at the crucial moment. There were two blue jerseys waiting to gleefully gobble it up and score. But the pass, I mean, maybe a bit too fast. And spilt with the try line begging. Quins will have a chance to clear their lines as the referee brings it back for a free kick knock on.
Yeah, have some massive collision between Jade Mullen and the ball carrier there. Just bounced away. Unfortunately couldn't get the pass away successfully, and Quins just able to hold on to that ball and keep possession. Lots of bodies looking a bit tired now. Now we're sort of getting to the end of the game.
A few worn out bodies aren't there? I mean, it has been played at a relentless pace and also some hugely physical moments as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Lots of ball carrying, some really big hits within the packs as well. So yeah, it's been an exciting challenge and really quite equal between the teams, I think, as well. I think a few sort of ad hoc tries from Quins, but maybe the scoreline not necessarily reflecting the game.
Well, Katie Mew, the lady down injured, receiving attention at the moment. Not sure if that's an injury or if it's cramp. But either way, she's up and about.
Yeah, Katie Mew's had an exceptional season, actually, really filling the boots of those internationals that we've lost on international duty. She's had some tremendous carries and hits throughout the season, and similar to Lauren, has really grown into the game this season. It's great to see.
Well, speaking to your head coach, Gerard Mullen, beforehand, he summed it up quite nicely. He said, she likes to hit things.
She does. In rugby, yeah.
Which is exactly what you want from whoever's wearing the 7 jersey, isn't it?
Yeah, she brings aggression, she'll hit anything, she's always up for it, and that's great to have on a team, you know, really bringing the motivation behind the pack as well.
Stolen in the line by Dennis.
Tackle away! Tackle out! Tackle!
Worcester just struggling to establish any foothold for the last 15 minutes since Quins marched down to their half and set up camp, coming away with the Wilcox score.
No, use it, 9. Hold it.
Packer boxes to Laughlin, who spills it backwards. The ball just lingering in the air with the wind holding it up and blowing it back. Very difficult for Laughlin to be under.
8.
Packer goes to her backs. Wonderful hand from Quins. Orkin swerves outside, then puts the pace on. Packer really driving the tempo of this Quinn side at the moment, growing into the game increasingly.
Well done.
Ever since her charge down try. Scott to Edwards. It's a big unit moving through the middle. This time, Duffy. There's some of the pace taken out of this attack for Quins. Emily Scott goes back inside to the refuge of her forwards, but again the Worcester pack clamping down with even just a sniff of a turnover.
Yeah, it's unfortunate there for Quins. You know, they had a good bit of play there, nice shoulder ball from Izzy Mayhew, giving Freya the space to run on the wing, making a good little break. Just getting caught with the Worcester defence, and then unfortunately the back row coming in again and causing mayhem and getting the turnover.
Well, they may be 17 down on the scorecard, but there's no doubt about it. They are winning the turnover battle, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, all the Worcester team have been phenomenal in the breakdown area as well. Not just sort of back row, but Flo Long getting involved, and I know sort of Laughlin also getting involved earlier. So it's great to see so many players just having a go at that. Jacko, I think that now that you can no longer roll on the floor, it's making it much more of a competition in the breakdown.
A few more changes for Worcester being made. Mattinson finds herself harried by Fee Fletcher, sort of streaming through. Penalty advantage being played. That was Fletcher. Bit too eager to burst through the line. And a chance for Worcester to build here. Can they get a score? Can they get a try to get themselves back into this game? 17 points the deficit. And that's a good start. Pins the ball accurately, 5 metres short. Could we see a drive here?
Yeah, that was a great kick there from Worcester, and yes, it's setting them up nicely for a driving maul. They're obviously allowed to drive it in their 22. I'm not sure if they'll drive, but I assume they will.
We predicted it last time as we see Izzy Mayhew depart, and it heralds the arrival of Tess Brown-Arova. Expertly claimed by the woman who gave away the penalty to take Worcester up. Fee Fletcher leaps like a salmon and makes amends for the penalty that she gave away. Half charge down by Worcester, bouncing trickily. And Worcester once again deep in their half, having to go a long way to try and breach the Quins line, which they haven't done so since early in this game. The Paige Farries interception, the only joy they've had in scoring terms.
No commentary, 9. Thank you.
The referee asking for,
Well done,
I think it was Lucy Packer to stop commentating on the game.
Like all Nines do, hey?
Just release the ball. Holding on. Leave it, 7. Leave the ball. Well done, thank you.
That's brilliant work there from Quins though. Lucy Packer doing sort of 2 kicks in quick succession to allow Quins to sort of get into the area of the pitch that they want to play in and just get relieving that pressure.
Time is off, Worcester.
A time off for an injury on the far side to a Harlequins player. What will the conversations in both respective huddles be at this stage of the match with the scoreline where it is?
I think, you know, from a Quins perspective, I know that they'll be sort of confident with the scoreline. They've got a bit of leeway with the points. They'll just want to ensure that they're patient with the game, that they keep their discipline, you know, to a level they want it to be. They don't want the tiredness of the bodies to start giving away the penalties. We've got some fresh bodies on the pitch now, so like Ella Amory's just come on for Izzy Mayhew, and she'll hopefully be able to provide some fresh energy and fresh motivation for the team.
Okay.
Scott to Burford. Strong defence
Play on.
from Farries.
No,
Meg
3.
Varley
Tackle her, well done.
battles her way beyond the 10. Worcester looking for
Backwards.
width, but an errant pass creates some confusion in the defence, and Worcester still have possession almost up to the halfway line. But
Katie Mew then again just straight over the ball, and you know, doing what she does best. She's been phenomenal in the breakdown today, and once again getting the turnover.
it really has been a battle of the back rowers today, hasn't it? Like really competitive, going toe to toe all afternoon.
Yeah, it's been great to see, you know, so many turnovers and lots of people getting involved in the breakdown.
Yeah, you'd argue that maybe Worcester's back row more effective at the breakdown, but certainly Harlequins in the loose. The back row's been everywhere, and the way that they've linked with the backs as well. It hasn't just been big boshing running. There's been deftness of touch and some wonderful link play.
Yeah, I think both, you know, forwards and backs in both teams working well together to sort of stay connected and ensure that the play goes smoothly.
6 as well, please, Quinn. 6 as well. 6 sub.
So Quinn's line out just inside the 22, looking for their 5th try
Worcester, hold the space.
of the afternoon. Quite a stop-starty
Let's go,
second
Quinn.
half
Play.
with injuries, replacements, and the like. Cherie Cooper coming on now, but still Rosie Dobson doing the throwing.
Outside the arm. It's not straight, it's outside the arm. It's option, scrum or line.
And this
Scrum.
time, just missing the mark.
It's not straight, outside arm.
Worcester with a scrum. And still with a faint glimmer of hope that they can get something from this game. Certainly in terms of losing bonus point, but a try now does open up
Crouch!
the prospect, the hope
Bind!
of a comeback.
Set!
I think at this stage of the game as well, so many replacements on, there's sometimes opportunity created by that chaos, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. You've got, bodies are tired on the pitch and
3. No, 7, not from the mark. Not from the mark. 3. Out and round.
Alex Callender's attempts to go quickly thwarted by Ben Wood. And Mattinson looks to chew off a big chunk of touchline again, but missing. Too greedy. The try scorer, Beth Wilcock. Well tackled by Laughlin. Laughlin has done it all today. Breakdown work, tackles, runs. Really impressive from her on Worcester's left wing.
No quick.
As the Quins' left wing and try scorer herself, Freya Orkin.
Thank you. On the line, please.
Grappled across the line by Jade Shekels.
Yes. Sorry.
And Tremeling shaping to hit her jump in the line out. The set piece has functioned well for Worcester. It's whether they can use this to try scoring effect.
Play on, she didn't go, she stopped.
Strong tackle from Lucy Parker on Taz Bricknell, an aggressive runner with ball in hand. Perfect shape from Quins over the ball on that breakdown. Gave the referee no option but to award that penalty.
Yeah, once again, breakdown being the sort of divider between the two teams. I think that was Emily Scott actually. I didn't quite see, but putting great pressure on Worcester to sort of now they kick the ball into the line out. Not sure that's in the 22, but hopefully capitalise on that as well.
There are some times when you look at a turnover or an attempted turnover and just the mere shape of the player's body over it, you say that is a penalty. It's just picture perfect sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think so. Nice and low over the ball, and there's no moving them once they're there. So ref's got to blow.
Okay. Time on.
More changes. See Chloe Edwards and Freya Orkin depart the field. And Quins, as you said, just inside the 22, going to their banker ball. Fee Fletcher.
20. Penalty advantage. 20 side entry. 20 entry at the maul.
No advantage coming. Quins
20 side entry at the maul.
Tap. It looked to be a hint of it for a moment. Scott uses that experience, all 38 England caps worth, to slow things down and say, let's nudge this in the corner and have another go.
Yeah, Scott's another leader in the team, and she's really instrumental to that. She's currently light training with the GB7s as well in the week, so it's brilliant that we still have her available to play for Quins. She's got a very experienced head on her. Decisions like that can be really, really important in the game.
Yeah, you're talking about someone who went to the last Olympics with GB7, so she knows what he's doing, and so do Quins.
7 don't change.
In the driving maul, they've got ahead of pace. Worcester retreating at a rate of knots. It's a matter of when, not if. And that when is now. Quins across for another try to put an exclamation mark on a terrific performance, and a 5th try.
Yeah, it's excellent from Quins. The decision to go for the kick was definitely the right one. Quins have always had a strong driving maul, and good to capitalise on that. I think that was Rosie Dobson potentially getting that try, so brilliant to see her scoring in her first start and return back from injury, and a nice confidence booster for Quins as well. This young side have come out and put quite a good performance together against a strong Worcester side, and yeah, I think they've done really well with the scoreline.
And Emily Scott rounds things off with a sweetly struck conversion to maximise Rosie Dobson's try from the driving maul
Thank you. Well done, Rachel.
A fiercely competed match here in Guildford between Quins and Worcester, but ultimately a commanding victory from Harlequins Young Guns over the Worcester Warriors. They win this one, 31 points to 7.
Yeah, I think they'll be really, ecstatic with that result from a younger side, because Worcester have sort of quite an undisrupted side with not too many players being out on international duty, and they still have lots of capped players. Quins just not quite having as much experience as they're used to, but still the young players able to step up and bring what they've learned from the more experienced players in training and showcase that in the game here today.
Who impressed you the most playing for Harlequins today?
To be honest, I think Freya Hawkins massively impressed me on the wing. She's got heavily involved in the game. It's quite easy for a winger to sort of stand out on the wing and wait for the ball to come to them, but it looks as though she's gone searching for the ball. She's put in some good hits and read the game well in defence. So yeah, been very, very impressed with Freya, especially being on the wing is not her normal position. She's goes by being a 9, so it isn't, it doesn't train on the wing or anything. So to come out and put a decent performance like that is really impressive. She should be proud of her first Quins appearance.
And what of Worcester today? What elements can they take from this as a positive for their season as a whole, but also to build on looking ahead for next season? Because they are a young side who haven't been together very long. There's players who are gathering experience, even ones like today where they've lost by a few points and conceded a few tries, they're going to grow from.
Yeah, absolutely. They'll continue to grow, and they have done sort of all season. They're much better squad than they were last season, and their games have shown that throughout the league this year. I think they've been really dangerous in elements of the pitch. They've conducted some nice play, but unfortunately, just due to handling errors or mismatches or whatever, they've just not been able to successfully finish as many as they probably liked. But they're creating the opportunities. They just need to sort of be patient and finish them. But I think with experience and with time and playing together, that will definitely be something they can come. And Jo Yapper's an experienced coach. She's worked with lots of younger sides, Exeter Uni, England under-20s, and she's done a great job in developing the side.
Well, you mentioned opportunities, execution and taking those opportunities, and it really was Harlequins who were ruthless today. It was Worcester who got us underway in terms of the scoring with an early interception, but from that point on it was all Harlequins. We'll take a look at those tries right now. So that's the first try. It was Paige Farries just lurking in the Harlequins backline as they sought to go wide early through the distribution of returning captain Rachel Burford. But Quins responded almost immediately. It was Alex Eddy powering her way across the line, a power that we would see consistently throughout the match from Harlequins before Tova Vixton set up Freya Orkin, the player that you mentioned, Heather. But this was the turning point from Lucy Packer.
Yeah, phenomenal try from Lucy, a great charge down, and just, as you say, a turning point in the game. But brilliant to see Lucy doing that.
She really grew into the game as it continued. She became more vocal, more dominant, a lot more zip about her game. She began to really, really impress.
Yeah, she's a phenomenal player, and unfortunately hasn't had the sort of minutes that maybe she'd have hoped this season. But she's grown into the game massively, and she just allows that quick ball. She's so rapid on the ball as well, so she's a threat herself as well as getting that ball out. And I thought she had an excellent game today.
Well, Beth Wilcock followed up with the try that killed the game off, and this was the cherry on top from the Quins pack that worked so very hard throughout the entire game, and they had a real match up against an aggressive, talented Worcester pack as well.
Yeah, I think it was definitely a battle of the packs today. You know, Worcester did really well to keep Quins out and defend their try line, holding up tries a few times today. But you know, on the line out on the driving maul, the Quins pack were just able to get over the line with that final push. And yeah, it's unfortunate for Worcester because I thought they defended really, really well. But yeah, Quins doing an excellent job at finishing that.
How important is this win for Harlequins in terms of that desire to secure a home semi-final? How important is a home semi-final in the playoffs?
Yeah, I think it's really important. It's a great win, one, just because, you know, the team is full of younger players and it'll be a brilliant confidence booster for all of those players involved today. But also, you know, if we get a home semi-final, that's going to be hopefully played down at the Stoop. Playing at the Stoop is such a privilege for any Harlequins player. It's an amazing place to play. The atmosphere, albeit, you know, we haven't been able to enjoy having fans in the stadium and stuff like that, but even just being down at the Stoop, it's got that game day vibe, just brings that mentality that you want on a game day. And I think all the girls will be hoping that we can get that home semi-final, so this will be a big part of getting there.
Well, Heather, will we be able to see you come those playoffs at all? How is your hamstring prognosis?
It's looking very unlikely, unfortunately. Yeah, so got quite a good tear in my hamstring, so definitely not for semi-finals. But you know, if we get to the final, we'll see where we're at. But yeah, I think unfortunately these injuries happen, and you've got to look after your body so that I can be back fit and running and sprinting next year.
Well, let's have a look at who awaits next, because it's going to be a few weeks until we see the Premier 15s again. It's strange to be having these games so intermittently. And that's the final round of weekend games. A long, long trip for you up to DMP Durham Sharks, who I'm not sure if they've managed to secure that victory against Bristol. But if they do, then they'll be brimming with confidence for your arrival, even though you are sitting very, very high up in second place.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, in that final game, it's not obviously, of course, hopefully Quins get the win, but I think it's more just going to be looking at, you know, looking ahead towards the semi-final and looking at how we're going to play that and just practicing what we need to get right for that following sort of week. Quins are luckily in a good position in the league that they know they can take a decent squad to DMP and just play as they do in a competitive league.
Well, you are going to have to go up there and win as well, because Wasps have managed to beat Gloucester Hartbury 25-20. I don't know if there was a bonus point there, but I think from us today that around about wraps it up. So thank you very much for joining us, Heather.
Thank you for having me. It's been great.
It has been an absolute pleasure. Harlequins Women have taken a huge step in securing a home semi-final for the playoffs in the Allianz Premier 15s. That is the penultimate weekend of league action done and dusted. The Harlequins Young Guns have put in a 5-star performance to defeat Worcester Warriors 31-7.
Rock with me, all my girls with me.
Out towards Chloe Rolly, wonderful step from the Scotland international, gliding away, running away, sprinting away, stunning score!
Lewis on the wraparound. This might work out for Thompson. They're going to put a little bit more on it, and then they're over.
Large on the ball, lovely flighted pass, Tatiana Hurd with a straight line, streaking towards the try line in the opening minute. She spills away, dives over the line, wonderful fly from Tatiana Hurd.
Megan Goddard puts the afterburners on. Shot in Harris. 2-on-1 is Lydia Thompson. Oh no, you're not going to catch Lydia Thompson from there. Scott. Oh, it's intercepted by Emily Scarrett. They won't catch Emily Scarrett from there. The long legs just eating up the ground. Oh, Chloe Rowley's making her way back, but she won't catch her. Emily Scarrett has been on fire.
Carson again, she's having an absolute stormer of a second half. The Canadian international still going, gets the offload out. Lottie Clark bursts away from the tackles, gives it off. Carson again, looks around the outside, Packer for the hat-trick. What a score from Saracens. What a comeback.
Rock with me, all my girls with me. Rock with me.
Turnover by Malloy. And McDonald sets off. Claudia McDonald. Mack is back and in fine style. Oh, it's a fine strike. Marston controlling brilliantly. Now Bristol Pack going forward. It's a penalty try. Oh, now there's a gap. Burgess.
Ride with me, all my girls with me.